Alright, I'm live yet again for another hangout. I'm doing it in the afternoon this time because I feel like it. Plus I got spare time, so why not? So, quick announcement towards, or for everybody is that pretty soon I'm going to try and do the basic collab with Zephanoria, I believe. So that'll be a fun little video to try out. And I already found a good video to do the collabing on. It's with the Red Pill Ghost, I believe. That's his name. I always forget his name every now and then, but that's who he is. So we're doing a collab for that video. Granted, I don't know how long it'll take, depending on time differences, time scheduling, and that sort of business. But that's on planning so far, at least. Let's see here. Uh, I'm gonna try and also share the link to watch the hangout if people are solely interested. There. And I know this may seem excessive, but I have to use a email and just move that around, and yeah, that gets boring, and I wouldn't say boring, but just rather annoying just to move emails and stuff of that nature. But it's the only way I can really operate this, you know what I mean? There. Copy. Now I'm gonna. Okay. Give me a moment. I think someone's trying to call me yet again. Oh, wait, never mind. That was a weird timer. Never mind. Ugh. I hate when I get bugs like that. Hopefully, this should be the. Yep, that's the stream. Now, uh, so yeah, we'll just see how this is going to turn out. So, if anyone wants to join in, just gotta let me know. And I'll do my best to try and invite you over, and we'll have this party started. Uh, Let me see if I can't fix this problem once and for all. Now, the only way I can get rid of this annoying noise is if I close the laptop, but that means I won't be able to check on Twitter, so that's a bit of a bummer. But the bright side is that I decided to create this elaborate sort of plan where basically uh, every 5 or so minutes I'll open up the laptop, and before it starts with that annoying fan, I'll be able to know who wants in, who doesn't. So if you want, and just let me know in maybe 5 or so minutes, I will give you the link via direct message on Twitter or whatever means works for you. And we'll have a discussion and talk about anything that you like or are interested into. Um, I also got a spare water bottle, so I don't have to rush out and grab some more water, since my throat will get dry or anything. Mm. Speaking of things I've been doing, I've been trying, I've been trying to find good videos to do collabs of more than one person. Largely because I've never done before. And I just sent Cog Wrangler a guest video, and we'll see how well that turns out. Granted, that video I made was more of an introductory video on how to debunk shibes, like kind of like the top 5 ways to debunk shibes in that sort of fashion. Uh, Reason why it wasn't a full-blown debunking of shibes is because I've already expressed how I'm kind of a burnt-out person about that topic, unless if he says something really stupid enough for me to comment. Um, but we'll see what happens in terms of that sort of stuff. Let's see here. Let me just check Twitter. I see where the problem lies. There. There. That's charging, thankfully. Let's see here. Uh, hmm. So far, nothing's happening yet. So I may start uh, tweeting to a few people if they are interested. I think there may be a few. I don't know if they are interested, uh, but let me type out. There we are. We'll just see how well that goes. Uh, Now, to start off, I believe Carl Grinder mentioned how he will be back by the 27th, so that's not too long from now. And he'll start making more content after a certain amount of time. Let's see here. Not much has happened lately today. Other than a lot of planning on stuff and videos I want to do. I found out something really interesting about Amazon. Like I had no idea that you could do this, but you can actually order the common cold from Amazon. I looked up. I think it's the movie theorist or something. I always forget his name, but Matt Pat or something. He's a famous guy that likes doing movie theorist sort of stuff, and he mentioned how you can actually order the common flu on Amazon, which I find to be surprising because it's like one of those objects where you would imagine it'd be illegal to buy because there's so many ways you can actually uh, do damage with that. So I'm a bit surprised that you can actually buy that off of Amazon. That's a bit of a shocker. Uh, Another thing I've noticed is that like they're like a lot of people just don't realize that it's harder not to be on the internet anymore. It's harder not to be because so many things are really attached to the internet. It's ridiculous and kind of scary if you think about it. It really is. Uh, like they're talking about how all your payments are done online. They're no longer by check, and there's even talks of just appliances that are just naturally connected to the internet, like a refrigerator or a freezer, that will automatically tell you what you're out of, and they'll automatically order your stuff through whatever, and drones will eventually do the delivery for you. And that whole internet connection thing's kind of getting scary with how easily just everything's being connected to the point where nothing's done physical anymore. Like, when is the last time you ever saw, uh, say you filling out a check for your groceries? And that's where, and it's becoming a very rare occurrence because naturally people want to go through the aisle through a debit card. That's infinitely more easier than the common. But yeah, I just find it. I just find it amazing that rarely these days you're ever going to do just just checks and or having basic human conversation that isn't texting or on Twitter or Facebook or even by phone. Like, people are rarely doing those sort of things anymore. Uh, and People never write each other anymore with just regular handwritten letters anymore. It's just all replaced by email. Granted, there are a few people I know of that actually do write by letter. Granted, only two of them have ever quit doing that to me. Uh, Looks like Geek Cthulhu says no for reasons, but that's all right. Granted, people have their own reasons of not joining, like they have to deal with other things, and that's totally fine by me. Um, that's totally fine by me. But yeah, um, lately I've been bored. Reason? Well, because there's no big thing to grab onto in terms of drama lately that I'm fully interested, that I'm fully dedicated towards. There's nothing really about that. But anyways, yeah, there's no big drama that I'm a part of or anyone else is a part of that I'd be able to take part in and actually have fun with it. But that's all right with me. It'll come eventually. Oh, that's about me. I do like me some drama or internet drama, and that's largely because I choose to like it. And I always like doing debunk videos in response to people that are emotionally upset, and they're the ones that don't think logically right. But that's really about me. It doesn't apply to anybody else, really. Uh, there, I'm looking at Twitter, and Harmful Opinions is getting a ton of new avatar sort of stuff. That's a thing I've always wondered about Harmful Opinions. Like, how on earth did he lose his avatar? Like, as far as I know, apparently he sold it to the creator of Minecraft, apparently. Which makes me wonder, like, I mean, was that really a smart idea from? Like, me personally, I wouldn't get rid of my avatar, even if I was, or sell it, even if I was offered quite a handful of money, because well, the reason being it actually took a lot of idea and brainstorming to actually make the stuff I do, especially the one I'm using right now. Um, and overall, if I was offered like $2,000, I probably wouldn't give up my avatar. And even if I was offered with that much money, I would probably give him something else instead. But give me one moment. I gotta let my dog out, so I'll be right back. No, I'm back. But yeah, I wouldn't really give up my avatar. What I would do instead is if someone was offering me $2,000 or something for that after I'd draw 'em something like it, but not the same, and give it to that person, not the original. That's what I would do. But the other aspect I liked about Harmful Opinions on his move is that at least that gives him and his fans the ability to redesign everything and find something new and better, at least. And he has the larger leg on how to do it with his fans, apparently. Uh, the only thing I wish I was able to do with the art thing is background designs, because I've never been able to do that, or at least goods. Like all my drawings, they're always drawn on a blank sheet of paper. I very rarely add any background designs because I that's the one thing I really do struggle on. Like, just what am I going to do on the background? What am I going to fill it with? Is it going to be just, is it something I'm going to like? Because mainly everything I do on terms of my avatars, I actually do it with a full intent purpose of me enjoying myself, and also with the intended purpose of each selective avatar I use. Like this one I use for debunking, just about debunking bad ideas in general, especially the religious and others. Then there's a female Cthulhu, and that's dedicated towards feminism and Steve Shives sort of stuff. And I have a few others that I dedicate, and that's why it's not all in one under one avatar, because in my mind it makes more sense to have one avatar dedicated for this than the other for that. But the funny thing is, that's led to a very funny situation, believe it or not. Like, uh, like a like a MGTOW troll probably saw one of my responses to Steve Shives, and he legitimately thinks I'm a woman, even though I'm not. And when I when I told him that I wasn't who I was, or a woman, and the funny thing is, he instantly blocked me, and I lost all his comments because he legitimately thought I was a woman, and I just find the whole thing funny. Yeah. Uh, in other news, yeah, a lot of people have been tearing each other apart, though. I've noticed. Like, you have this big drama between Tildair and Cognitive Thoughts, and you have a few others, especially the Liz Reptile drama, and as well as the Angry Midtown drama, which, believe it or not, is still going on, but not as much anymore. There's just everybody's at each other's throats. Granted, with Liz Reptile, I don't understand what's going on, so that's actually the biggest reason why I stayed out of that conflict, because I have no idea what's going on there. It's like, yeah, they're best to stay out of that one. I have no idea what that's about. But with the Cognitive Thought and the Cog Grinder thing, it's one of the few occasions I would say that drama needs to end. Reason? Well, because it's been long and drawn out to the point where it's lost its meaning. That and that and like they're just responding to each other. They're not thinking logically or rationally. They're just not. Like, true, they're both making good points on either end, but it just seems more of a response than actually a critically asking themselves, am I taking this too far or anything? But it seems neither one of them's willing to do that, but oh well. But my personal stance is they really need to back off from each other. Just let it cool off for a few days. Then one person apologizes and the other apologizes, and that's the end of that. That's my personal thoughts on Tildir versus Cognitive Thought, sort of drama or big debates. And I've always said this from time to time that the bigger you get, the more drama you're going to attract. And sometimes you may not even want it. Sometimes you may hate it and you just will want to just avoid it at all cost. But the problem is that drama is really inevitable. Like people, you may like someone, then the next thing you know, the person may hate you, throw their guts, and it'll drag you into some big drama, uh, and people hurt feelings and all that. And I see it as more of an inability, really. Like there's no actual way of preventing that. Like you may try, and you may and you may try and avoid it with the best of your ability, but it will always happen no matter what. Uh, let's see who else wants in. I know Geek the Hulu doesn't want, so who else does? Hmm. Perhaps perhaps this guy. I'll ask if Quinta. I can never pronounce his name, but Quinta. There, I'll ask him. Another thing I've been lately bored is the lack of interaction. That's probably the fault of mine because I always choose a very bad time to join, or I won't say join, but just do hangouts. uh, and like it's either latish in the afternoon or late at night. It's never at a more inconvenient or convenient time. Oh, hey, Matt Jane. Again, I'm just doing a hangout because I'm bored and I've been needing to talk, basically. Not much else has been going on. I've just been trying to relax a bit. Other than that, I've heard some very disturbing news about Amazon, apparently, where you can buy the common cold there, which I I would assume that normally that stuff would be illegal, but apparently it isn't, and people can actually buy that stuff off of Amazon, which I was shocked. Or I heard that from a movie theorist, I believe. I don't quite remember what his channel name was. But yeah, that's what I heard that story from when he was doing a movie about how to kill Luke Cage, and apparently, movie theorist or has an obsession with killing fictional comic book characters, and that was his way of doing it. Apparently, the magic taco. It's an inside joke. Long story short, a long time ago, I used to have these trolls that would say, "Where's your magic taco?" And I'd always tell them I have no taco. Then they sort of made up this bullshit reason of how an atheist isn't good enough to be a good human being because they have no taco. Then it became a back and forth motion to the point where it sort of turned into a joke among anything else, and that's how I turned a couple of religious religious trolls into a few good people I know of. And it's more of an inside joke above anything else. It really has no meaning other than the fact that I like tacos and they do too. Uh, yeah, I've seen it and it was pretty good. I've seen it. It's pretty good. My overall problem with Angry Midtown is that he implies this we sort of thing, like everybody's a part of his little camp, and what bugs me more is right before he deleted all of his channels, he made a video called CPS in Progress, which he actually tried to actually commit the crime of actually making a false accusation, I believe, a false accusation thing, and that was the point when I decided I will not make any responsibilities to Angry McTow because he just broke the law, literally, and there's no point in me responding to a criminal. And no matter how many times he may try and hop back on YouTube, go on their social site, or blah 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 blah, I lost all respect for him when he went after someone's children. Like, I don't care what that man is. Just the moment when you go after some person's children, that's when I draw the line. Yeah, he is, and the unfortunate thing is he's just. I mean, the unfortunate thing about him is that he's been trying to use MGTOW as a shield to protect him from his critics. And the worst part is that that wasn't it wasn't the first time he deleted his channel and everything. He used to be, I believe, MGTOW United, and he had some other issues as well back then. But I think that was 2012. That was a while back ago. Ah, believe it or not, I actually think the same way. They could be the same. The only major or minor difference with the voice is that between the two, uh, it just seems to be a sort of approach to how they talk, not necessarily the voice, but talk. And granted, it's possible they could be entirely different people. I don't know. And the reason why I don't make that assertion that they are the same is because it's one of those topics I would rather not be wrong on, just rather stay either neutral or open-minded to the possibility that they could be the same or not. Um, yeah, I saw that years ago, and I was on the internet for a long time. Like, this channel was only here up to, I believe, 2012. I had a channel before then, which was religious channel that started out in 2006, possibly 2001. But that was a long time ago, and I saw a lot of drama back then, before 2012, and I know a lot. I even know some things that most people would be shocked and horrified about if I told them on camera, and they would think me crazy. Like, believe it or not, back in 2008, Chrissy Winters and Sarah Cod used to be friends, but that was 2008 before feminism came around. uh, uh, yeah, the atheist gamer he's a bit of a weirdy person because I remember when he first came out on YouTube, like the first few months, I remember he had an issue with this one person that he wanted to get an artist to do his sort of, it wouldn't say his avatar thing, but it was more or less just paying someone else to do this animation thing. And he went crazy over that animator, even though the animator didn't want to do anything about it. But I always found him to be the weird guy among anything else. He asserts that he he just likes to assert that people have to help him no matter what. And I think that may have been back at 2011 ish, and I remember that was around the controversy, as well as when MJ was crying about how a woman was stalking him, even though there were Twitter leaks about he was actually the stalker. That was around the same time. Let me know if you want in, by the way. I'll DM you I will DM you the link on Twitter. But that was all around the same time when MJ was going mad. Uh, and that's why I always refer Red Pill Ghost as MJ, because he sort of revealed himself as that way on Angry Mitchell's sort of hangouts when the two of them were going at each other. Uh, Sure. I'll give you the link. It'll take me about a second because I'm working with two computers. One of them does not have Twitter and the other one does, so I'll have to. Strange enough, I'll have to email myself the link, then I can move that over the Twitter computer. Then that's sort of the dilemma I'm in, just trying to. There we are. Let me post that. Then I'll move it over. Let's see here. Shoot. Got it. I'll cut the. Also, if you join, let me know if you can hear me because I'm testing out a new mic. I'm not entirely sure if this works or not, so just let me know if you can hear me or anything. Let's see here. There. All right, it's on your Twitter or in your DMs on Twitter if you want to come on in. Topics can be about anything really. It's not a guided hangout because there hasn't been any angry critics of mine lately that have done any serious responses like Golf Man in a long time. There you go. Just sent it. There we are. Another thing. Oh, hey.
Oh, I better close this window. What is up? Sorry, I had the stream open.
Good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, thank goodness, because I was in the hangout earlier at another point, and this sort of mic just refused to work because I spent literally $50 on this, and it felt like I was buying.
Alarm. That was my alarm clock. Set to the wrong fucking time. There we go. 6:30 a.m. Bitch.
Yeah, I've been doing all right. I've just been relaxing a bit, and I've been trying to rattle my mind around this Tildeer versus Cognitive Thought drama between the two.
Yeah. Oh, I'm in a drama with the ranting monkey.
Oh, is that going on?
Oh yeah, no, I had some dumb American on my stream, right, to talk about Angry MGTOW and the shit he was doing, right? 'Cause I saw how he was bullying her on that show, and I was like, oh, I'll talk to her. I want to talk to her, find out, try and get an idea of why he went after her. 'Cause I didn't know like really anything about her, never seen her before, right? Don't really follow all that shit. Like, so I'm trying to like get inside Angry MGTOW's head and figure him out. You know what I'm saying? Right? Because I'm a MGTOW. He makes the best of us look bad because he's a fucking idiot. He's something wrong with him, right?
Ah, I see.
But I have the opinion, right? And point blank, they asked me. I said I think marriage is legalized prostitution, right? And you've seen the stream, right? I did with her.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, you've seen it. Pretty civil, right?
Well, it seemed at first, or that's what it looked like to me when I was watching it before I kept getting harassed by Red Pill Ghost again.
A red pill ghost. And who's he?
He's sort of the equivalent of Angry MGTOW, except the difference is he likes to assert he's the right kind of MGTOW. It's basically a new true Scott.
Yeah, I think I've seen him. Is he a fan of Angry MGTOW? I think I've seen him comment on videos.
No, he and the two really hate each other, but the big difference is Angry MGTOW cross line with the doxing, whereas Red Pill Ghost is an actual stalker.
Okay. Fine. So, that's not what MGTOW is about. I get a sense from, well, I don't know where Red Pill Ghost, but I get a sense from people like Angry. Like, he's definitely angry with women.
Yeah, And I remember, I think it was 2012 when he was known as the United MGTOW, I believe.
MGTOW United.
And
I was in a group called MGTOW United, and then I saw a channel called MGTOW United. I don't know if he was the forum leader or if he named himself after the group or what, but I don't know. I only heard nothing but bad things from MGTOW United. Never really followed him. And when I seen the angry MGTOW videos, I never liked him from the start. He came off as a fucking idiot to me, and when he and I watching his videos, I always got the sense that he was a virgin. Like when he talked about sex, it seemed like he didn't know what he was talking about, and it was odd, you know. And when when you're a guy and you've had sex and you're hearing another guy talking about how had sex and things just don't add up, you know, when the guy's fucking bullshitting, right?
mhm.
So I just got to read something wrong. Like at first he's a MGTOW monk, which is nothing wrong. I don't have a problem with the guys who choose to be celibate, right? Because there's times where I choose to be celibate, and then there's times where I choose to be, get where I want to get laid, whatever, right?
Mhm.
So like especially guys who choose to be celibate, for whatever spiritual reason. So you want time to think about uh, why the time I've chosen to be celibate is because I wanted to focus on work. I want to like get my shit together, save up some money, get out of this shitty fucking apartment, right?
Ah,
but right, there's a certain sense of honor those guys. But there's like TFL or True Force Loneliness people. I think there's people that are TFL and they using the MGTOW brand, and to me they're not like who's to say who's a real MGTOW, but to me they're not real MGTOW because they're TFL guys, and they're blaming women for their loneliness, and that's bullshit.
I see. And every time when I watch Angry MGTOW, he really came across as this person um that really does need to walk away from his certain position and actually look in the real world, because he was extremely compulsive. That part never changed out of him years ago,
To
even
me,
when
he reminded me of Atheist Gamers. I got that sense of him. He was like really kind of shy at first in his early videos, but then like as he got more and more subscribers, he became more of a lunatic. Like Atheist Gamer got into some drama with Charming Man 93. Like he had this sense of entitlement. It's like, why don't you give me shout outs, right? And he has like 2,000 subscribers and he's bitching about that people don't know him. And it's fucking weird. I tried to talk to him on Skype. I'm like, well, what's this shit, man? He's like, you're making yourself look really stupid, right? I'm trying to help the guy out here, He's been on my stream before and he seemed like a nice enough kid at the time, right? And but then he just started doing all this shit and he's just going after the wrong softball targets, and when he fails and he humiliates himself, he doubles down and he just digs it deeper. He's seeking fame on YouTube. It's weird, and I get the same thing from MGTOW. I almost called him atheist MGTOW, angry MGTOW.
uh, well, I'll be right back. I think I
I'll
got
call
calm.
him MGTOW because I think they're the same person, right? A lot of people are saying they're the same person, but I'm like, fuck me if they don't fucking sound alike and act alike.
I'll be right back. I got calm down. My doggy's barking again, but I'll be back in a sec.
Make sure it's not Michael Myers out there, eh? All right, just me. The cup is empty.
All right, I'm back. I just had to calm him down a bit. All right, gotta close down this laptop. There we are. Yeah, so I'm back. Let's see here. Been needing to stretch out my legs a bit. One thing I might as well start talking until he comes back. Let's see here. One thing I've been needing to do is have a better variety of coffee. Reason being is because one particular person keeps commenting on my videos, and he's delusional. That, and I've been needing to find another excuse to possibly respond to Shives again. Problem is, I really can't seem to find the motivation to respond to Shives anymore. Like, I made a 2-hour and 45-minute long response to Steve Shives, but after that point, it's been more difficult on my end to respond to Shives. And no matter how many times I try, it's just it's more difficult on me because I'm burnt out. Granted, I'm starting to feel that at some point he's going to start making stupid content again, and I'll be able to respond to Steve Shives more. Oh, hey.
Yeah. Sorry, were you reading something?
No, I was letting the audience know on why it's harder on me to respond to Shives because I'm burnt out.
Does he actually respond to you?
Oh, no, it's Steve Shives, so everybody knows him.
I know, but does he actually respond to you? Because he like blocks the entire internet from.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't respond to me, but I knew him years ago when he and I used to chat a lot before I believe 2009, I believe, but that was a long time ago, long before he went crazy, and I sort of became burnt out when I made a 2-hour and 45-minute response video to him.
Well, basically, from what I understand, he built a large subscriber base because Coughlin gave him shout outs, right?
Yeah,
And I guess, like with everybody else who gets a large amount of people following them, they get like this massive ego and they just detach from the real world and they think they're like this shit. Because they have all these sycophants on the internet, like stroking their ego away, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like if you get big enough on the internet, yeah, you sort of develop your own ego, and
especially when you start making money off of just like sitting on your ass and making videos.
Yeah, and that's really how Steve actually developed his own little ego. Like he and I used to talk to each other a lot, and before I potentially became possibly the first person he ever blocked, he used to mention how he had to start writing scripts, and those scripts were just directed towards a sort of goal in mind in terms of what the agenda was, and it was those hints back in 2009 sort of told me that yeah, he was developing an ego, especially when he got brainwashed into PZ Myers and that sort of cult.
Uh, well, from what I've seen of his like movie reviews and all that, well, I've seen his Batman Returns review, and he was talking about Tim Burton, and he was like, "Oh, the Tim Burton style that we know of is from like Edward Scissorhands." I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? The Tim Burton style was established since his short films, right? Even like the Burton-esque Nightmare Before Christmas was a lot like his stop motion animated Vincent cartoon, right? So his films have always had that German expressionistic design from the beginning. Like even Pee Wee, the Pee Wee's that was his big first feature. The style was all there, and yeah, and then it was there since Beetlejuice. Uh, that Burton-esque style. That's like I just found it. Basically, he doesn't say anything that or have anything new to say that you can't see on every other YouTube channel. And basically, as a I don't know film aficionado, to me, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, that's the problem with Steve. He doesn't understand all the movie reviews he goes over. Like I remember he tried talking about Star Trek and Captain Janeway. Then I'm there butting my head because I watched all of them. I watched the original. I watched Deep Space Nine, Generation Voyagers, you name it. And whenever he talks about Star Trek, it just makes me want to hit my head in the wall.
Are you a Trekkie?
Yeah, I'm more of a Trekkie than Star Wars fan
Yeah,
because
well, yeah, I'll agree with you there. Star Wars, to me, Star Wars was silly compared to Star Trek. Um, it's more for adults, right? But like I got a problem with like hardcore Trekkies, right? They're like angry MGTOW. They're from another planet. Have you seen the documentary Trekkies? And of course, in the Star Trek juror and that shit, like that, that creeps me out, right? That's why I had a problem with Star Wars too, because these rabid fanboys that are like, "Oh, this is like the best fucking movie ever," and it's like, not really. It's kind of stupid, right? People are going ape shit over Episode One when they're like, "Have you seen the first Star Wars movie?"
I've seen them all, and let me
Really?
like I've seen all of them, and let me summarize you what.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, have you seen it? It's fucking cheesy as fuck, right? Uh,
Yeah, they say that all the time, and it's annoying. Like,
but by the way, I remember like being in grade 7, right? And like subject to Star Wars came up, and that like I called it like the first movie. And some guy got up all pissy. He's like, "It's not the first movie. It's Episode 4." Like this was before the prequels fucking came out, right? Like, like it's Episode 4, A New Hope. Or I'm like, no, it's not. It's just called Star Wars, right? Because I saw Star Wars on a VHS cassette, and it was just called Star Wars. Right? It was right back then. It was Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, and that's it. They didn't call it Episode 4 and 5 until after like currently Empire Strikes Back or whatever. But one thing I always hated, like a lot of fans believed it, was that George Lucas had this whole saga mapped out from the beginning. He pulled it out of his ass, right? Like Stephen King and anybody else, he made it up as he went along, right? But uh, this disingenuous con job. I don't know. Just pisses me off.
Yeah, that's sort of one of the inherent problems of George Lucas. Like he came out with a set goal and with just how he imagined it, just out of a planned sort of thing. But that's the thing about some movies. You can't
Yeah.
write a movie like that sometimes because that kind of destroys any potential new things. Like,
It was always just going to be like one movie, basically. Then it got successful, and then he just like, oh, I can make sequels and prequels, right? Like, and
yeah,
I heard rumors since the early '90s about coming out about, and it'll be focusing on Obi-Wan. And
uh-huh.
like back then, it sounded like a cool idea. Before we got the movie we got.
The prequels were garbage in my eyes, even more so than Episode 4 and 6. The only Star Wars movie I liked was 5, and that was it.
It really is two. I'm not going by the episode chronological order and going by the years they came out. It's the second one.
Ah, I see.
Fuck that bullshittery.
Yeah, I see.
I saw The Force Awakens. That wasn't bad, even though it was just a ripoff of the first movie.
Yeah, it felt like it when I watched that one. And
But it was expected. I knew it was going to tell a similar story, right? The surprise to me was they had Han Solo fill the role of Obi-Wan Kenobi in the first
yeah,
movie, right? Which I thought was kind of odd. You would think it would be Luke in that spot. But the thing was, right, Harrison Ford is the bigger star. You know, uh, that's basically what it was, right?
yeah. Like the thing I don't like about Force Awakens is that you know, this drives me crazy. Like I like Darth Vader somewhat because he's like Imperial Enforcer. But when the new movie came out, it seemed like he was a destructive man child. Like, and the overall writing of Force Awakens just had me bang my head a bit because it, it it reminded me about the stupid cliche, or I wouldn't say cliche, but just the stupid moments where you had those funny scenes in episodes or in
I
the
thought I thought it was kind of interesting how he was this man child, and that, you know what, like it does set itself apart from the other Star Wars movies. When it's trying to be funny, it was actually funny. Right? Like the part where he's basically like mocking like this Darth Vader wannabe to his face, right? It's like, oh, like you get to say something, right? Like that shit was actually funny, and that was like refreshing. You know,
yeah.
it was it was the least cheesiest Star Wars movie I've seen in a while, and it was more in the it was actually in the spirit of the original Star Wars movies. The prequels felt more like they were trying to go into more Star Trek territory.
Yeah, and that's when I
The,
got a little
the
pissed.
midichlorians, right? We're like, oh, we're gonna explain the Force with science.
Yeah, and that sort of stuff bugs me because I mean, like when there's a reason why there are some things that shouldn't be explained because it destroys the magic,
Yeah,
the thing that makes it special. And the moment when you declare it's midichlorians and that mumbo jumbo, then that sort of destroys any sort of magic you may like about the show.
yeah.
And
Before it was about mysticism and all that stuff, and then now it's what about eugenics?
yeah, and what
Uh, like that trilogy, basically had me rooting for Darth Vader because I'm like, holy shit, fuck the Jedi, right? These are the most incompetent assholes I've ever seen.
yeah, exactly. And
And basically, they take this boy from his mother and leave her to die on a fucking desert planet because they didn't need her. They seem like really selfish people. No wonder Anakin would turn on those uh, fucking morons and go to the dark side, right?
Yeah, and I made a video about this subject actually. Why if I was in the Star Wars universe, I'd choose Sith because the Jedi, despite the fact that I don't like Star Wars that much, I'm well versed into it. But the Jedi actually do kidnap little children, and it's illegal not to give up your child to the Jedi, and it goes into the brainwashing methods of just the Jedi and everything about the Jedi.
Was that really in the movie? I think I missed that. Or
Well,
is it like in one of the Star Wars novels or whatever?
and largely it was on the novels and books, and but you can see there's a bit of indoctrination, and I believe that's in the
Yeah, I
I
was
think
wondering where those fucking younglings came from, right?
yeah, you can find that
That's
in
my favorite scene in the movie. Yeah, I chopped those kids up. Everybody in the theater laughed when I went and saw that. And that
yeah,
part,
you can you can
just like with that lightsaber just turns on, I just hear giggles. People are actually laughing at a murder scene involving children because it was what it was. It was so cheap.
well yeah, it was cheap at episode 3, and
It was right because I think it was trying to so hard to be more mature than the previous two because it really needed to because the previous two were hokey as fuck, right? People were expecting episode two to go darker because episode five got darker after episode four, right?
yeah, and
And it got a little bit darker because of and Anakin finds his mom dead, but then there was all this silly shit after that, and he was still the good guy at the end.
yeah, and
It was pretty hokey. Ah, shit, just really shitty movies.
yeah, I was somewhat okay with that Attack of the Clones movie, but the thing that pissed me off was a scene where I think Anakin was talking to his girlfriend or would be girlfriend, and he started acting like a child about how he was ranting about Obi-Wan, and it just seemed more like an immature child at the time than. I guess what really bugs me about the Attack of the Clones is when, more or less, just how oblivious he can be sometimes,
Yeah,
and and that and that's the thing that upsets me. Like we all know Anakin becomes Darth Vader, and just to see him to have that sort of past where he was always just ignorant and
do you think Luke's going to the dark side in The Last Jedi? I
uh
think it's going that way.
maybe like in the last in the new trailer when I saw that for the episode 8 or whatever that's going to be called, he mentioned how the Jedi needs to end, and I can't tell if he's going to the dark side or is he trying to reform the Jedi Order. Who knows?
Because they might be evil, yeah. But I read the script, right? And even though he only shows up as a cameo, he described him as having kind eyes or whatever. So I guess maybe he's still good, or I don't know. Like Mark Hamill has said in interviews that he thinks that's where it was supposed to go. That he was going to go to the dark side.
I see. Uh, I think there. I think the original, the sort of original script for that, it's sort of an eye opening on how Luke was supposed to turn to the dark side,
I
and
tell you what, even though I think Star Trek's more entertaining, I think the Federation are just as bad as the Jedi.
well, they're slightly worse because they're basically there's no income. Basically, you have to like let's say you're a coffee shop owner and
Yeah,
there was no currency, and their laws strictly say you have to serve them, but they can't pay you. And like,
yeah.
how on earth are you going to get food? And
What do you need to be there for? The replicators, right? And then when you talk about why this sort of future would work out, people are like, boom, boom, boom. but replicators, like, number one, replicators don't fucking exist, moron, right? And they never will because it's magic. You can't fucking you replicate something out of thin air, and there's right, even right with all this 3D printing shit going on, you still need materials and shit to make the stuff work. You still need people to build these fucking replicators and to power this stuff and make this fucking work. So you got to pay people to make it happen. Otherwise, they're just slaves.
Yeah, and have you heard about? I believe it's District 31. It's within Star Trek, and basically they're special ops where anytime when, say, a planet leaves the Federation or someone just doesn't do it as they say, they'll literally hunt you down and just destroy you. And that's why there's been no civil war within the Federation, because they have this special ops unit that will constantly just suppress that sort of stuff immediately.
Yeah, it's called like Section 31, right, or something like that.
Yeah, Section 31, and the scary thing is they don't have to listen to the leaders of the Federation. They just do it.
Yeah, Section 31, I think, was added in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
That's where that came from. Right? So the thing about Deep Space Nine is the creative team behind that were like kind of trying to be more like the anti Star Trek ideals. They're portraying technology that failed a lot, right? That life wasn't all good. It was a lot darker than Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah, that's what it was supposed to be when they were making that.
It's a rip off of Babylon 5, basically.
Yeah, it kind of was.
Right, and it didn't really hit home to me how much of a ripoff it was until I saw the final episodes of both shows. I was like, holy shit. It's exactly the same. They followed the same fucking plot.
Yeah.
I don't know why Babylon 5 didn't fucking sue. Or they must have tried.
Maybe they did, but in the end, they just didn't want to pursue it because it didn't seem to work out. I don't know. Like, I've heard that there are some companies that made this story about a few Ringworld ideas, and I think it may have been Voyager when they tried to do an episode on that, and sort of the same thing happened, except that company never followed through the lawsuits. I'm not entirely sure about that.
Let's face it, Star Trek: The Next Generation got more interesting after Gene Roddenberry died.
Yeah, it did, and
Because he was really holding people back because his vision of the future was it was fucking wacky doodle, like one of the head writers of the show said, because he wanted a world without conflict, and without conflict there's no fucking story, right? And it's impossible to have a world without conflict. They had conflict on the original show, but like Gene Roddenberry, his ego got big after Star Trek. He was an older man. He was an. I saw the show about the writers of Star Trek: The Next Generation and what they had to put up with, and especially on the early season. Because when you look back, like the first two seasons, pretty shit.
Yeah, they were really shitty.
There were some good episodes in there, but like overall, it was.
Yeah, like after the third season, I started liking that series, but the first season I just could not stand. Like,
it got better after they introduced the Borg, number one, and then it got even better after Gene Roddenberry died, because then they started having like darker plots and.
Yeah,
and started becoming more militaristic. As Gene Roddenberry was in the Navy, and it was more supposed to be based on naval type stuff in a peacetime, whatever, right? And in Star Trek: The Next Generation, it came out in the late '80s, but it was mostly a '90s show. It was it was it was pushing this socialist PC agenda, right? Uh, the Klingons were the bad guys in the original Star Trek, and now they have a Klingon on the bridge, and he's one of the good guys.
Yeah, and
And they don't get paid, and they do it for the love of doing it, even though the captain will order you to your death.
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, have you heard about like this is disturbing, but I found this out from, I believe his name's the movie theorist. He made a video about literally everything is monitored on the ship. Like everything's recorded, and that's
Yeah,
how Section 31 knows if you're being a bad boy. And he even expressed how any of the touchpads, it's all recorded stuff. And
yeah, in captain's log, and
yeah, and like they literally spy on their own captains. And in fact,
how many admirals on the show are the bad guy. Actually, just about every admiral on the show was the villain of the episode.
yeah, uh, yeah, most of them were. And the one that I really did not like was, I believe it was an episode when Captain Picard was going on trial, and it was with these admirals, and they were all just like, have you ever seen this in SAW just try the very hardest to find a reason to hate you?
Yeah. You know what really bugged me was I think Patrick Stewart is awesome as fuck as an actor, right? But when Picard gets fired up and he makes his speeches, I'm like, oh fuck, because like that's how good Patrick Stewart is of an actor. He makes you really think that he believes in these words that he's spewing, right? He really believes in these ideals of the Federation. So like pompous Captain Picard, we're more evolved in the 24th century. Like, fuck you.
Yeah, he's sort of the poster child of the Federation's values.
The, the fascist Captain Picard.
And that's the thing about every single Star Trek.
Cowboy Jim Kirk, fascist Captain Picard, and even more fascist Jamie.
And that's the thing. Like, you never ever have a Star Trek video or movie or whatever going and having the Klingons as the main characters, with the exception of one or two episodes of Enterprise. But that's the exception. Like, everything's been played off of the Federation's viewpoint, and that's what annoys me, because there's never an episode depicting, like, say, the Romulans or the other races that are hostile to.
They tried to focus on more on the Romulans after, like with Nemesis.
Oh yeah, I remember that. And Nemesis was okay, but
Oh, it sucked.
like the only part I didn't like about it was more in particular, they had to make a clone of the man. Like, why would you have to clone the same person just to get revenge? That makes no sense.
The whole thing was stupid. The totally waste of a good idea of a story about people cloning Captain Picard. They could have done a really good movie about that. They could have had Patrick Stewart in two fucking roles and have him fight himself, basically. That would have been a better fucking movie. But it was trying so hard to be the Wrath of Khan, and Tom Hardy just wasn't threatening enough, right? This is his pre-Bane era Tom Hardy.
Yeah, like the Wrath of Khan sort of thing was a one-time thing, and that's sort of a moment it'll never happen again. Even if the new
the original series, like even when I think First Contact is the best Next Generation. Well, I think it's the best Star Trek movie, to be honest.
it is the First Contact. Wait, isn't that the Borg one?
That's the Borg one, right?
Ah, yeah, I remember that one. And that was a good one. I liked. I guess my absolute favorite was either First Contact or the one where Captain Picard finally turns against the Federation and he's
Insurrection. I hated that one. That one was to to follow an action-packed fucking Borg movie like First Contact with this with kind of a PG rated, light, fluffy kind of like a hour and a half episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation. It was pretty disappointing, and the conflict was pretty stupid and not really interesting. What would have been more interesting is to go like really really deep into the corruption of the Federation, like Patrick Stewart wanted, right?
yeah,
Like this thing with the people that mirrored that they were basically white Native Americans. It was kind of stupid.
yeah. That idea was kind of stupid. Like if you had a planet where it made you immortal, and I doubt you'd want to revert back to a Native American style. I sincerely doubt that. And the thing,
And they were anti-technology, but they had technology, and
yeah, this again. I'm just saying, if they were immortal, I don't think they'd go back to that lifestyle of being
the
immortal.
stupid writers of that one thought First Contact was too dark, so they followed up like really it was the I think it was like the first like Star Trek movie that really actually felt like a movie and not just and not just like an episode of the TV show. Because even the good Star Trek movies, like 2 and 4 and 6, they well no actually I thought 3 was better than 4. But 2, 3, whatever. Start the older Star Trek movies. They were movies, but like the special effects at the time, they could have been better. Like, because there were other movies coming out around the same time that were way better than that special effects.
Oh,
Oh
you're talking about the newest movies or just the other ones?
no, the old ones.
All right, those things.
Like even back in the '80s, they had better special effects than what was in a lot of these Star Trek movies.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, where was I? But the thing about the old Star Trek series was they weren't copying. Like even in Contact, they weren't trying to be the Wrath of Khan. And I thought, really, I don't know why they were trying to copy Wrath of Khan with Nemesis because I thought First Contact was the Wrath of Khan of the Next Generation series because they followed up a pretty boring first movie with a more action-packed second movie, and Picard because like Star Trek Two: Wrath of Khan, First Contact was basically a sequel to the Best of Both Worlds from the Star Trek TV show. So they had that going on there, but they weren't like consciously trying to rip off Wrath of Khan. But then for like Nemesis, they hired a writer who was like a TNG fanboy who just basically just ripped off the Wrath of Khan, and it was a pretty disappointing movie, especially for what was supposed to be the last movie for that cast.
Nice.
They're more epic. Why not just have them fight the fucking Borg again? That would have been a lot better.
Yeah, like
You
that
know,
would have been a lot better if
what would have been cool if the last movie was remember Armis from that.
oh, that guy, I remember him.
What if he got off that planet?
Oh,
That would have been more of an epic. That would have topped Wrath of Khan right there. Because
yeah,
how would they stop that guy?
yeah. Like
And
how
there's
would
other
you?
ideas to explore, like who were these Titans that left him there? What if they were the Q?
Yeah, yeah, like they could have been Q, and that's the thing about some of those sort of plot holes that they never fix. I mean, like who were those Titans, and
Yeah,
one thing that bugs me is when this bugs me throughout all of Star Trek, but
Special effects they had at the time when they made Nemesis. They could have done a much better Armus
yeah,
rather than a fucking Tom Hardy looking not so menacing. Basically, just like Anakin Skywalker. I don't like you because I'm a clone of you. Well, I'm better than you because I lead an army.
yeah,
What?
that
Like, dude, why are you bad? I'd have put you in a fucking cave. Grow up.
yeah, and just that character, I didn't exactly like him because his reasoning of why he hates
He
Picard's
was a poorly written character.
yeah, he was just really poorly written, and not to mention his reasons of hating Picard is really just petty. Like, I mean, like obviously, why would you hate a person that you need to live off of? And a big thing I don't like about that character in particular in Nemesis is that he sort of like Picard as in the
What I think the idea behind the illness was, I think they had an idea in the beginning that he was going to like rapidly age, and then and then eventually he'd be like the same age as Picard. But then they're like, nope, no, he's dying.
yeah. The thing that bugs me about that guy is he's the poster child of much like the Romulans and just as ignorant as Picard sometimes. The only big difference is um I think the Nemesis guy he's more of a I don't know what to call him. He's not a man child, but he is just
Why does he
freakish.
hate Earth? Like he should be mad at the Romulans.
Yeah, like
The
he should
Romulans
be.
were the good guys in that movie. It wasn't even about the Romulans; they were the Remans.
Yeah, exactly.
The fact this movie was just not well thought out. Like, imagine if they'd done a real Romulan movie who did my idea, have like them face Armus, and it could be like fucking Event Horizon. They'd be like, where did the Titan go? Like, what the fuck? There's a ghost ship. Holy shit, Armus is on it. Well, I got a ship and I will wage war on the Federation. I'll do all sorts of crazy shit. You can't stop me. What? I feed off your phaser energy. I could make you blast your own head. You can't fucking stop me. You're trying to make me mad now. I know your little trick, right? You'd be back and stronger than ever, right? You won't fall for the same fucking thing twice,
Mm,
right? Because that's the only way. Right? They made him too powerful, right, in that episode. So the only weakness he had was if you made him mad, right? Then there's like a hole in his energy force field, whatever, and he could beam his people out. And for some reason, he can't get off that planet. He can't. Being as powerful as that, he can't figure out how to get off that planet.
yeah. Another thing that's bugged me about the whole series is I don't know, but the lore behind who made the Borg, like that's always annoyed me because like whenever you'd see the Borg, I mean that sort of whole is never explained. And granted,
You know who I think made the Borg?
the Q,
No, Beecher.
what?
Beecher.
Oh, Beecher. Well, I've heard of that theory.
Who bonded with Beecher? A human.
Yeah, and
With an organic person. Became one. He's the Borg King. What the Borg King was the pedophile from Star Trek the Motion Picture.
from that guy, I'll say. I see, and
When I say pedophile, you know who I mean, the actor, not the
yeah,
character.
yeah, I know what you mean. I know that guy pretty well, and yeah, I've heard about that theory where V'ger just created the Borg as just a way to gather information, but kind of forgot
David
about it.
Bishop is the same. That's what Beecher was doing. He was assimilating people.
Well, it would make sense because V'ger's purpose was to learn everything, and maybe that was the intended purpose of the Borg, just to assimilate knowledge. But the problem was maybe the Borg either rebelled or quite possibly they V'ger just forgot about it, and the Borg got corrupted and started assimilating everything.
No, they're all getting orders from one person, right? And but later on, they came up with the Borg Queen, right, to be like the queen of the Borg. But I've always thought of the that one hive mind as V'ger, right? That they're all coming from somewhere,
Well,
right? Right? What if like V'ger's this massive, massive, massive ship bigger than any Borg cube? So all these Borg cubes could be like, it could be like a space station for Borg, right? For Borg ships like the DS9 and the Borgiverse or whatever.
yeah,
See, these are already better ideas than what we've been seeing in these fucking Star Trek movies, right? I mean, we've already solved the plot hole of who made Artemis and who made the Borg. It was V'ger and fucking the Q.
yeah. I don't know. I'm leaning
It
more
would have been
toward.
a great excuse to have the Q in the movies, right? If the
Well,
Artemis was a Q and Artemis got off that planet, he'd be going after the Q for leaving him there. Like, you fucking bastards, Q you fucking Qs. Hey, which Q? Me Q? You Q? I'm Q. Right? They're all named Q. They're like, hey, that wasn't me. That was the other Q. Oh, fuck you. That was Q number two.
that's the weird thing about the Q. Like they never actually have any individualist names. Like it's always Q. It's never like Bob or Randall. And
Yeah, just like their stripped down version of the Federation.
eh, difference is with them. They're just the stubborn little children in particular. And anytime when there's a crisis, it's like we have to do a debate. We have to talk about the ramifications. And this is coming from the Q.
Why
And
does it need to be other Q? That's what I don't get. Dude. Like, it used to be just one Q, right? And he was basically God. You could
yeah,
do anything, right? But if there's this other Q and they can take away your powers, or how do they keep each other in line? Really, there could only be one Q, like Highlander could be only one.
yeah, that would have been a lot better if they settled down with just one Q that that runned everything. But nope, they had to do with a whole society of Q, and
Yeah,
that
if
that
they,
got
if they wanted a real like bad guy for the Star Trek Next Generation movie, they could have had lore in there instead of B4 or somebody they just pulled out of their ass.
I see.
Remember Data's evil brother?
Oh,
That would have,
yeah, I remember that. And
that would have fit in with that mirror image, whatever theme they were going for an instance.
yeah, I remember Daya's brother. And I don't know. I have mixed feelings about that thing because, I mean, it makes sense to have an evil twin, but that,
Oh, I thought it was cool back then. Yeah,
like,
and
I like the idea.
all
That
that.
I like the idea of having an evil twin like that, but at the same time, it just seemed that guy seemed way too dramatic.
No, I thought the lore was cool as fuck.
Mm. What bugs me is like do your it goes back to that planet where everyone is immortal. Like they supposedly find Data's second or third brother, I believe, and that guy's a doofus.
Like it was inbred data, or return data.
Yeah, and
Why did the bald man have a shiny head? Like, really? A fucking robot would ask that? I don't think so.
yeah, that was really just in. But the only good quality of that movie was that I love how they reprogrammed that sort of retard robot and made him somewhat of a use. And even at the end, just I like the moment when Data just turned them off.
I think of the new Star Trek movies, the new, hotter, sexier version.
Uh, somewhat. I think they're somewhat good, but mostly garbage. Like the new one, like with the time traveling thing, where they supposedly rewrite the entire Star Trek history. That bugged me to no ends because I mean, if you do
Well,
that,
supposedly they're in a parallel universe now, so the old continuity still remains.
yeah, and that's what they've been trying to
Except
push.
well, they
That's
said it in that first movie. They said it outright. Oh, well, then I guess we're in our own universe. So
yeah,
whatever.
that's their way of trying to fix a problem. But to me, it just bugs me that they did that. And more or less, what bugs me is like with that movie. Like I have three problems with that movie: A, bad script writing of Kirk; B, it's too bright.
Have
Clearly,
you read the actual script for Star Trek, the 2009 movie?
I have a little bit. I've only read the few first pages.
Yeah, the first few pages, right? That's the most poorly written screenplay I've ever seen. Like, I've never seen the word "fuck" used so much, not in dialogue, but in the slug lines.
Yeah, and that's why I really didn't like the new Kirk in that movie. Just he seemed more of a out of control just person than the actual Kirk from the other original series.
I thought Kirk was a lot like Kirk in the other series. Who the person that was out of character the most was Spock. Like, we've had like Spock flipping out to be his thing, right? Because like Spock flipping out is out of character, but we've seen him do it so much in the movies. I don't like the only time we've seen Spock get violent is when he was that one episode where he was forced to fight Captain Kirk basically, and he was like under this hormonal whatever fucking thing, and we know that Vulcans have emotions before they do this purge thing, right? So it makes sense to show him having emotions when he's young and all that.
Yeah, and yeah,
But to have him dating a Hura of all people,
oh,
it's just fucking stupid.
that lovely bitch. I remember. No, that girl just when I saw that movie, that girl was the definition of no, 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 no.
Oh, she's hot as fuck. Uhura. She
I
was
know.
too bad as a character. What I thought was like bullshit in this was, this was the PC, but having her be an action girl all of a sudden, Uhura was never that. She was basically just a communications officer, right? She's there to take the calls, basically. That was her job in the show. So to be like in the spirit of the old show, the betrayer is all of a sudden somebody who can fucking take somebody in hand to hand combat all of a sudden is kind of stupid.
Yeah, exactly. This suddenly she
Not
has.
everybody in that ship has to be a badass.
Yeah, not everybody has to be I sort of have a father that used to be in the Navy, and they have this protocol where everybody has to be trained to use a firearm, but nobody on the Navy ship is that badass good. Just saying, and that's the thing I didn't like about her in that movie. This instantly everybody isn't a badass. If
Yeah, that she can uh, that she can do all this shit like Gamora in her other character from Guardians of the Galaxy, right? All that shit's fine when you're playing that character from that comic book movie, but Uhura was an established character from a 1960 series, and she was just a communications officer, and right, you don't have to portray her as weak and helpless. to portray her realistically and have her be vulnerable. Could ever be this unrealistic badass that can just flip a guy and shoot this person there. It's like, what the fuck? Otherwise, I think Star Trek Beyond was the best of those new movies.
Yeah, I liked Beyond a lot better because it sort of,
This is the worst of those movies. Holy shit.
yeah, I like Beyond a bit better because when I was watching it, it actually finally portrayed a semi story that was outside of the Federation with that villain that had actual reasons to rebel against the Federation.
Yeah, he was the best villain, and and the first was like okay. It surprised me that it was entertaining, and that I was like, wow, it doesn't really feel like Bones, Kirk, and Spock. Wow, Bones, they got Bones and Kirk right. Spock was kind of the oddball. He was almost there,
Yeah.
but there was just stupid little thing like having him hook up with Uhura. That was just dumb. They should have had Uhura hook up with Kirk, right? And like, we just see Kirk as a ladies' man and just banging broads that he doesn't care about, and doesn't care about that she's fucking dead later on and whatnot. They could have had like Kirk and Uhura hook up, and they could have, two humans having human emotions, and they could have had like Spock, like in the middle between the two of them, like this outsider. That could have been more interesting than this fucking baloney.
Yeah. Let me check in the chat. I'm just checking to see if. All right. We only have one viewer, but there was a guy named David Less, and he mentioned this one question. Hey guys, are you even looking at the chat anymore? Well, sorry, I can't see the chat anymore. Or I can. It's just difficult on my end.
Yeah, sometimes I don't even pay attention to the chat, right? I'm so wrapped up in talking to who's in the room, right?
Yeah, I'm sort of the same. I have the same issue sometimes. I tend to talk for so long to the point where I forget about the chat for a minute. Especially
Those people.
especially if I'm extremely angry, I don't pay attention to the chat that much.
Yeah, I didn't really get into what happened after I did the stream with some dumb American, right? Because
Oh,
like I said, you've seen the stream, and I was civil the whole way through, and right, and she seemed to be civil at the time, right? But what happened was I happened to tune into a stream like after mine, and where it was she started talking about and like Ranting Monkey and all those people were there. They watched the stream live, right? When they were talking about it later, they were like misrepresenting what I was saying and acting as if I was bashing women, and they were just really butthurt over the whole of that. I said that marriage was legalized prostitution. And it's a controversial opinion, I know, and not everybody's going to agree with me. But for them to get so personal and get so salty about it, I found that quite amusing. So I made like what I usually do. I make the ponage videos that I do, calling people out, and they just got blown the fuck out on Twitter.
I see. Sometimes that'll happen. Just some people will represent what you say or do, and that's happened to me constantly. I wouldn't say constantly, but every now and then. And like, have you heard about?
The thing is, it's like, dude, it's like on video. I could cut back and forth between what you claim I say and what's really been said. But like, I don't know what all you saw on the stream I did with her, but like on the alimony thing, I made it pretty clear that I was against alimony for everybody. Nobody should be paying alimony, and it's part of the reason why I think marriage is legalized prostitution, because when you strip, when you take away the romanticize and the religious and the sentimental bullshit and get down to its fundamental core, I view marriage as a business, as a transaction of sex for money, basically, but it's sex for money, security, and of course offspring. It is a business arrangement. Um, it's a institution to control people, basically. And I know a traditional conservative isn't going to share the same view as I do. But to get so immature about it and got hurt, like, holy shit, that's fucking hilarious.
Hmm. I remember this conversation I had, I believe, in 2000, and maybe it was 2007, but it was with this extremely conservative Christian at one point, and he tried to make the case of how marriage was something where once when you're married, it should be illegal to not marry or not or basically to have a divorce. And I at one point I did gave him the links to how corrupt the alimonies can be, and it was right around that point when he basically some people turn into robots and they print out the exact same response and the exact same just ways you can respond to people. He's turned into a little robot, and anything you could say or do, he just goes back to the lines on the script.
And it starts copying and pasting responses.
Yeah, and like there are some people that are like that. If you try and call them out, that they will they'll literally either copy and paste their responses, either that or they talk about the same talking points over and over again, and it literally turns into you talking to a robot. And I tried to steer clear from those conversations because, like, what good can you do with a robot? Like, it's just going to say the same things over and over again.
Well, you know how some of those extremist MGTOWs are always talking about artificial wombs and sex robots.
Yeah,
I'm not into that shit. Let's just say I'm like, you're gonna pay thousands of dollars for a fucking sex robot. What do you get a fucking hooker for a couple $100?
my problem with
This
the
is fuck a real woman. Like, you know, if you're trying to replace women with artificial women, you're just proving to the world how much you actually need women, and you're claiming you don't. That's why I think these guys are actually TFL and not true MGTOW.
yeah, my issue with the robot thing is that like once when you make a robot, there's nothing stopping the robot from trying to get a divorce from you. Just I don't think they've thought about it that far. Like once when they get intelligence, who's to say that they may try and act like feminists? And the only difference is they're immortal.
Artificial intelligence will ever get that advanced.
Maybe I don't know. I'm still
We
trying.
don't even fucking, we know nothing about how the human brain works.
Yeah, like we don't fully understand how the brain works that well yet, but
Like,
I'm
where do these thoughts come from, and the voices in our head, and the pictures, and our dreams? Where do these things come from? Right? You know, we could study the meat and the gray matter and the electricity and the brain waves or whatever, but we don't really understand it. Like, we have some understanding of some of the mechanics of it.
yeah, like we are still learning, but
Try and emulate that artificially.
yeah, I don't know if it'll ever be possible for AIs to get that far, but if they do, I always say I would rather not marry a robot. If I ever do marry a person, it'll be a human because a robot is
I would
downright
marry a dog.
well. So you're in the bestiality,
Dog. Oh.
but still, I prefer a real flesh than a robot because
Yeah, exactly.
like a robot. I mean, like I would rather have a partner or whatever that would die along with me of old age. It'd be horrifyingly sad for that other person to eventually dig out my own grave.
But that's the thing that these people were trying to say about me, that I was viewing women as sex robots because I think that marriage is legalized prostitution.
Hmm? Oh,
Like,
sorry.
sorry, like some dumb American and ranting monkey, they're trying to portray me as viewing women as sex robots because I said marriage was legalized prostitution,
Hmm. I see.
right? And I don't know. It just shows you how simple-minded people are. Like, it's not that all women are whores or anything like that. It's really about, well, basic biology. Like, there's prostitution in the animal kingdom. Like, I had a thing about a little mini documentary about penguins trading sex for resources, right? A form of prostitution. It was not meant to be an attack on women, right? It was just like, holy shit.
Yeah, like that's what some people don't understand sometimes. Like some people don't understand that in nature doesn't really give 2 cents of a fuck for whatever reason on whether or not is the female lion going to be a robot or anything. It's just a biological factor. But um, but my main issue is with simpletons that can be on both sides either way. That that really don't understand basic conversation sort of styles, and
Well, these people that react emotionally to basically what was just an opinion, right? They're defending an ideology. It's more personal for them, like to criticize marriage like that is would be like criticizing their religion, and that's what that's about. So you got to misrepresent and strawman the guy and say that he views women as sex robots and thinks all women are whores.
I see.
Yeah,
Well, again, some people act that way. I did watch The Hangout, but at
yeah,
the time I was already in another drama
yeah.
between.
With Red Pill Ghost, yeah.
Yeah, and I've been trying to clear up that sort of issue because he's delusional. Like he truly believes that he really truly does believe in that you can never ever talk to a woman, even to the point of your own sister. And I'm there thinking like, why would I do that? And from that point on, just and the annoying thing is, I suspect Red Pill Ghost is Double guy because recently I've been invited multiple times to a hangout, and every time I go join on those hangouts that talk about them, they immediately mute me, then they boot me out after 5 minutes, and they've been doing this over and over again. And
You think Red Pill Ghost is actually who?
Doobly guy,
Jubilee guy.
like I think he's operating from a false, from another anonymous account.
Mhm. And
They,
it, and his name is Doobly Guy.
yeah, and he keeps changing the name every time he invites me over, so I can't find him. But overall, he's more of an annoyance because he likes to portray himself as this nice and lovely person. But if you actually look at his videos, he's actually worse than Angry MGTOW. He's downright crazy, delusional, and he even bashes against the gays in one of his videos.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing I didn't like about Barbarossa. I like his videos overall, and he's definitely a cool dude, but he does a lot of gay bashing. Right? He does not. He doesn't get outright angry and hostile towards them. He just says straight up, "I think homosexuality is sick."
Oh, wait. You talking about Barbarossa?
No, I'm talking about Barbarossa. Like you mentioned, like gay bashing, and it just reminded me about
Ah,
I
I
didn't
see.
think about Barbarossa.
I see.
All right, and a lot of right wing conservatives that because yeah, my late uncle he is a homosexual and I'm a lot more open-minded than when I was as a kid. I remember my younger, immature self, how I'd get grossed out at the thought of two men, right? Just, just seemed unnatural, right?
Yeah, I know that
But,
feeling.
but I guess when uh, I guess growing up and knowing people and then maturing over the years, yeah, you know, get kind of sick of ignorant people and their people who just bash people for being gay.
Yeah, like
And yeah, just to be so afraid of it.
yeah, I know that feeling because I used to have a friend that acted like that, and granted, I was more or less lucky enough to change that guy's mind about that subject. But it's sort of the same reason why I do not like Red Pill Ghosts because his literal stance is that gays should not be allowed to be in the MGTOW community or philosophy because they have a hint of femininity,
Right, right, right.
and that's where my problem comes from with Red Pill Ghost because he lies multiple times about his past. Like he may claim to be this nice guy, but he's an actual stalker. And there were Twitter links proving that he was a Twitter stalker. He deleted his channel, came back as Markov O'Connor. Then that drama started, and he started to portray as everybody must act in a certain accordance to what everybody must think. And then he's saying everybody must, any critics have to
And
act in a certain manner.
German so-called MGTOW guy contacted me, basically accusing me of betraying MGTOW and talking shit about MGTOW on Facebook. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, maybe I'm drunk or whatever. I checked on. I don't remember posting shit. People showed me screenshots of something I supposedly said, and then I go back to check, and like I don't see it, and I'm looking in my like activity log or whatever of everything I posted. Nothing's showing up there for that date. I didn't post anything on that date that I see in this timestamp that's on this screenshot. And other people I talk to swear to me that it's an actual thing, and they click on it and it links to my actual Facebook thing. So I'm like, I don't know what the fuck, but this guy was basically he calls me on Skype. I get into a voice chat, and then he starts like fucking swearing at me and talking shit. Right. So fucking I go in alpha mode and I just like, sit your ass down, son. You don't fucking talk that way to me. Like if we were face to face, I would have fucking knocked you out already. So then he kind of backs off like that a little, and then started demanding that I make a video apologizing to MGTOW. I'm like, fuck you. Do you even watch my videos? He goes, I don't watch your fucking videos. I'm like, then why would I fucking make a video for you, asshole? But kicked him off Skype.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, no, I'm sick of these fucking assholes that get fanatical about MGTOW.
Yeah, it's
Right? And like MGTOW means this.
yeah,
The only rule of MGTOW is basically is you don't get married. You're walking away from marriage because of the uphill battle that men face, and the over 50% failure rate of marriages and the consequences of that. It's just a shitty deal for men. That's what it's supposed to be about, not this fucking
yeah,
uh, kind of Nazi bullshit that I'm seeing from Wacky Doodles, the under the MGTOW brand.
Yeah, I made a video criticizing Angry MGTOW, and I got a lot of that in comments. Like a lot of people saying MGTOW means this and that, and then they went on to say how I'm attacking the community, even though I'm just criticizing Angry MGTOW. And the annoying thing is that I actually have actual Angry MGTOW fans that are really butthurt over me, and one of them in particular tried to quote me, but he was quote mining. I was saying how Angry MGTOW shouldn't ever bring up someone's kids like that. Then all of a sudden this guy's like, oh, he said that nobody should criticize him because he's inherently good.
Oh, and one guy said, "Well, the guy shouldn't be smoking pot in front of his kids." I was like, "Do you even have proof that he did this? Like, this was just something that Angry MGTOW pulled out of his ass because he was butthurt that he got humiliated on his own stream."
Yeah, and I tried to explain to those Angry MGTOW trolls, but apparently they
I suspect a lot of them are just him and using soccer counts.
yeah, he does. And believe it or not, there was an account I found. At first, I thought this guy was stealing Angry MGTOW's stuff, but I think the account was Paul Z. And after Angry MGTOW left, it turned out that channel mysteriously disappeared as well. So I think there's more channels that he has.
Mhm.
Just basically all they are, they're just they all they do is they sort of mirror the video that he does on his main channel. And
Because I do stock accounts too. I do shit to fuck with people, right? But like, it's for a joke. But like, he doesn't actually make try to make himself seem like he's more popular and he has more control over people than he really does.
yeah,
Or he has actual fans and subscribers. Nobody has that amount of subscribers, and they can't all be him. So obviously, there's people that follow his shit and whatever. But I think a lot of them are actually him logging into other accounts and trying to back himself up.
yeah, and that's what I suspect that he's done. He has probably more accounts like that I don't know of.
There's an angry MGTOW troll called Feminazi Slayer. Have you ever?
Oh, I know that troll. Do you know one? Do you want to know what's funny?
What?
Now, when I was making responses to Shibes, I was doing a female after. He literally thought I was a woman, and I corrected him, and he instantly deleted his own comment.
Oh.
I just found that incredibly funny because I was playing a satirical, crazy woman against Steve Shives, and he thought I was a legit woman, and he was asking about vagina stuff, and I told him I was an actual guy, and he instantly blocked me.
He was hitting on you, right?
Yeah, I told him that. I literally told him I was not a girl.
I have this account called like New Kitty Boo Boo, and I have this like fat girl as my picture, right? And like what I did was I just started trolling my friends as her, like I'm like you're fat shaming me and like shit like that, just to fuck with people.
Yeah. Well, I gotta get going. It's kind of getting late for me, but thank you for having be on the show.
No problem.
And I'll let you know if Red Pill doesn't change his.
Oh, one last thing before you go. I was going to say something. That Feminazi Slayer guy, I checked out his channel and I saw somebody commenting and claiming that the guy was a registered sex offender. Google his information, but he never gives out a name. I wonder if you heard anything about that.
Uh, I think I heard a little bit about.
That the guy was apparently on the show to catch a predator.
Oh, that I think that is possible. Granted, that was a. I'm not entirely sure if that's true or not because that's one of the few things I haven't looked into as late.
I looked at this guy's videos and he is an actual doofus. Like,
Well,
holy Yeah, he made these videos where he's walking around stores and doing these stupid pranks, and he's a grown fucking man.
Oh, that guy, yeah.
He's one of Angry MGTOW's trolls.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about now, that guy, and that guy's just he's a dupish.
He's a loser. I don't
Like,
even know if he even likes Angry MGTOW. I think he just wants to be an idiot and troll.
yeah, there's a good troll and a bad troll, but that guy is just wanting to be a, a troll, just being a troll.
Yeah, but I just thought I thought somebody kept commenting on all his videos and like this guy is a registered sex offender. I found that very interesting. I wonder if there's any truth to that, or if that guy's just talking shit, whatever. Because
It,
if he wants people to Google his information, he should at least post his fucking name.
yeah. Again, I'm not entirely sure if that's true or not because I didn't look into that sort of matter as much.
And I didn't bother responding to that guy to even ask him what's his name. Because apparently, cause then again, I'd have to comment on Feminazi Slayer's video, and he'd know I'm trying to get dirt on him.
Yeah, but anyways, I gotta get going. I think my dog's getting antsy again.
Alrighty, see you, bro.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Well, I'm the Forbidden Thinker. I'm signing out, and I'm gonna try and take care of my dog. So I'll be back later in the next video.